Hello, my dear ones. I hope this video catches you all doing great, getting your body rebuilt and all of that. Wow, I only have a couple of them here to read. Oh, we must be catching up. Sorry for the long video, but trying to get caught up. A little bit anyway. You know, in the last video, I had a question about spirituality, and I got to thinking too, for those of you that follow masters or gurus and things like that, in this time, there's enough awareness of the now and of consciousness that one doesn't always have to go through processes of either initiations. You see that in religion and you see that in spirituality. If you start out in the Catholic Church, I don't know what you start out, altar boy or something, or girl or whatever, and then you end up, working your way up that way. So every teaching has a process of growth. I saw it even in the Rosicrucians. They had a process of growth. Teaching Rosicrucians is where I learned basic astral travel. And that's an old order, a real old order teaching that. But then they use a little mind control in a way to put energy toward individuals and stuff like this. And it's like, you've got to be careful with all that, and also with masters, because there's a lot of masters that are very narcissistic, and they seek power, and they hold on to their rod of power, and sometimes they use it under the guise of humility and stuff, and you have to be real watchful of that, because a good true master will never be in your way and you. Because this is all about you anyway, and your journey, and how you waken up. And no one can waken you up but yourself. There was this, I don't know, some of you older people might remember this young man. He was only, God, I can't remember, 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there. But he had the ability to give you the light. So you'd go to his seminar in India and stuff, and then he could open up your Tisratil a little bit, supposedly. So he came to the States and started, having some meditation groups or whatever. And then he got into the ladies and the Mercedes-Benz. And then lost his power, as the story goes. So the big issue is that you're the one that has to open up your own Tisratil, your own third eye. And I've been giving you so many clues about how you do that. And the simplicity of it is that you shift from the thinker to the observer. And you then become the watcher of the threshold. There's all kinds of names they kind of have in spirituality, donating that which is consciousness and that which is creation. Even, we talked about this before, Christianity has it. They have the omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, but on the other hand, they have God and the devil, which is an oxymoron to omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. But you have to understand it's because they're describing two different areas. They're describing that which is the divine itself, and then that is the divine's playground, duality, creation. And once you understand those things, it kind of helps to set you free a little bit from the control of others, because no one should control you, not even a spiritual guide or a master, nor would they want to. There's not a true master that would take on your karma for any reason whatsoever. It wouldn't serve either individual appropriately. They might help you speed through yours, and give you some experiences that help to awaken you, but they'll never ride the ride for you. So I just wanted to kind of bring that out a little bit because there's questions about different beings out there, and you just have to look at the history of some of them and see how they tolerated the current. Some of these masters can't tolerate the high currents, and so their focus is power and control over others, hidden under the guise of spirituality. And you just have to know when you see that, protect yourselves, not give yourself away to this sort of thing. All right. Dear Dr. Morse, I'm a 38-year-old mom of one from County Durham, England. I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer in the left breast in June of 22. Wow. So that's a year and a half, right, or more? I was told I would need surgery, chemo, radiation, and my eggs would need to be removed. Okay. At 38, eggs need to be removed. I don't believe in the system of the medical system, thank you, and their lies, so I have been treating it naturally since then. I've been working with a holistic nurse. I love nurses. And looking into German new medicine. I was pretty healthy before the diagnosis. I barely drank, didn't eat meat, exercised, and loved home cooking. Keyword cooking. I get it, but it came as a complete shock. Well, you can't, in understanding the lymphatic system as we teach it, no one knows that out there. We're the premier group that teaches that. And you guys have gone out and helped others to understand this. So one doesn't understand if the kidneys are not filtering. No one talks about it. One doesn't really know, so their lymph systems are backed up. Until you start feeling the humps and bumps, a lot of the pain can come and go in places, and you just kind of pass it off. Sometimes you eat a certain way and the pain goes away, blah, 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 blah. So a lot of times we're not brought up in that mindset because we're brought up in a mindset dominated by allopathic ego. And that pretty is lost in the 17th and 18th century theories of diseases, which is stupid. And so you have the FDA, you have the CDC centers, you have all these people that think they're in control of the populace, corrupt as hell. Because they know that the treatment of these phantom concepts are killing so many people. And I'm not talking about the COVID vaccines. That's a willful thing. But they become a part of that. Especially that CDC, that lady that was the head of it, she is so bad. For to have a female to be rotten that would compromise the children with vaccines is, I don't know what kind of words to say for it. The karma that soul gets, and those souls are pretty deep, and wouldn't want any part of that. You don't want to become part of the karmatic issues that these people are creating for themselves. It's unfortunate we all have to live in the process of creation where this is, but that's the level of planet you're on, where the Pentagon says there's no evidence of UFOs. I mean to tell you, you just can't make this crap up. You just can't make it up. So it's up to each and every one to learn, to grow, and to be awake and aware. Because when you're using chemicals, and that includes supplements. Remember the old guy that just died taking too much vitamin D? And then we were talking about colloidal silver here and the Blue Man. He should have joined the Blue Man group. He had too much colloidal silver and his skin turned blue. Again, trying to teach you the world of chemistry, and that the world of chemistry is as corrupt as anything else. And it's easy to understand. The world of chemistry is a family like all of us. And every mineral, every atom is related. So whether you're arsenic or whether you're calcium or magnesium, you're all related in ratios that make everything safe, especially when it comes to food sources and things like this. It's when you isolate, and that's what the FDA and all these corrupt people try to do, is say that an alkaloid in comfrey or licorice can give you liver damage or liver cancer. And then under fire admitting that, oh, well, not the plant, the isolate. So again, everything is buffered in chemistry in the world, so it all goes around, so you don't eat and die from your food sources. And that you can go through your food sources, herbs, and find toxic chemicals that are not toxic in the whole of the plant, but isolate them and they can kill you. So one just has to realize that holistic, when we say the word holistic, it is truly holistic. It doesn't mean calcium, vitamin C, D, E, all of that. That's not really the holistic field. It's sprung out of us, but it's sprung out of the thinkers that are more allopathic thinkers. You know, isolate and treat. And it all comes from the unawareness of the lymphatic system. And that is unbelievable. Some people still think the lymphatic system just sitting there looking pretty, and it is there to serve the blood. It is not there to serve the blood, it is there to serve the cells. The cells is the one that are the structure and the function. Blood isn't dealing with function except to give energy to the cells. And the type of chemistry needed for each cell to produce its hormone, steroid, neurotransmitter, whatever that cell, enzymes, whatever those cells are, jobs are. Also part of structure. Incredible when you think about that. Now, I thought building houses in my life, I think, what if I build a house all out of wood? The plumbing was out of wood, the electrical system was out of wood. You can't do it right because of transmission of energy, all kinds of things. Well, the body is made exclusively of cells. Oh, and 2 fluids, kitchen, bathroom. And so when you bring it down to simplicity and chemistry down to simplicity, and that's your pillars and how you then correlate your theories, okay. But these theories are come out of some insanity that who knows. And then you're lost in pH of fluids, you're lost in how different chemistry responds in the body, and you look at the response of some of this in an acidic medium and you assume this is a natural response, when it's not. It's a response of acidosis. And you find that everywhere you look. So having the pillars of truth or the basics of the foundation of how this world works is key to having a healthy body, a healthy vehicle, and staying that way as much as possible, given the world at large. So the medical community, again, is there, in my opinion, as surgeons, and if you go back to the surgeons of Europe and stuff like that, they awed, and go way back, the first surgeons awed the world that they could cut open the human body and do whatever. But if you look through the lobotomies and the roughness of how that all came about, it's a rough field. And the treatments have been horrendous because these basics have always existed. From the 1700s, 1800s, nothing's changed. Chemistry's always been chemistry. The body's always had the lymph systems in it. It's man's complete unawareness of the above. And kind of sad that it's taken all this time, and then time, what's time? So it doesn't matter if you didn't drink, you didn't smoke, you didn't have all these acidic habits. The fact that you can eat raw foods and still get humps and lumps because you were born with a lymphatic system in trouble and you have kidneys in trouble. So you can't, sometimes you can't look back on your lifestyle and go, oh, what happened? Because once you understand the kidney connection to the lymphatic system, and the fact that they filter or not filter, that can bring you into a better understanding. And I can't tell you what all shuts them down other than anything that's inflammatory, which is going to be predominantly proteins. But then dairy products are very congesting to tissue. And so, you find mucus coming out everywhere, including the urine. And so that can shut down the flow of things as mucus gets harder and harder, or you get more acidic. Okay. And then exercising on top of non-filtration can cause more harm. And because you're taught that exercise fixes everything. If you're not filtering, the old knees and hips won't agree with you on that one. Working alongside my holistic nurse, we have changed my diet and lifestyle to drinking clean and hydrogenated water. Okay. But, really good mountain water, full of minerals, good electrical in certain ways. You start getting into distilled water and things like that. RO water, not a natural. Well, rainwater is supposed to be close to distilled, but not in a toxic atmosphere. Organic fruit and veggies where possible. And that's right on. You want organic when you can find it. But again, we've talked a lot about this, and this is a conversation I have constantly with all of you guys when you come in the clinic here, and that is, I can't get good food. And that's another really sad state of affairs. Your grocery stores mostly have a small section of produce, and then everything else is canned, boxed, and everything else, Vitamins, minerals, and supplements support my immune system. That I disagree with. Wholeheartedly disagree with. Most nurses, and no offense to this one or anyone else, but when you say immune system, most people can't define your immune system. Whether they had A and P, who knows? But even then, most people can't define. You ask a medical doctor what your immune system is and see what your answer is. You just, even immunologists, they haven't got a clue. They're still working on the germ theory. And so this is part of the problem. Truth is hard to get. And truth comes about when you break conditioned thoughts and you start looking at life from a conditioned state. It's like programming a computer where our minds are all programmable. Matter of fact, that's what the mind is a programmable instrument, at least the lower causal mind. So it's action-reaction, and so very difficult. But when you isolate, why do you need vitamins and minerals for? Oh, you're deficient? How are you deficient? If you're eating good food, and got to realize that most vegetables and trees and plants and things, their roots look for nutrition for the plant. That's why there are claims, I doubt it, but there's claims, especially the alfalfa, since it's so rich in minerals and things, that its roots have been found 100 feet deep. Well, I have no clue, but those are some of the stories that are out there. But for sure, your root systems can be pretty deep in some plants and stuff, looking for nutrition. Others, when you have good topsoil, don't have to go looking. It's all right there for them. And the topsoils on the planet, of course, being depleted. But then, who do we look for? Who's depleting a lot of that? You look, the trees, the plants and trees do not deplete. They give back. I think I gave you that old story about we had like 300 acres in Christmas trees. Oh, my God. Talk about hard work. So once all those Christmas trees were out of there, my dad wanted to plant it in corn. And I was already full grown then. And I was kind of as a hermit in the woods, but I did make it up there to visit them. I had a big old beard. My hair was way down to here, and he thought I was a communist. Kicked me out. And then my grandmother slapped him around a little bit and said, no, he just let his beard and his hair grow. I was living in the woods. And he was telling me this, that he was going to plow all the stumps from the trees under and then heavily fertilize it. And I'm looking at him, why would you do that? Through the years, every plant sheds and gives forth. And so for some reason, he listened to me. And later, another year or so later, we talked about it. He said, I haven't seen a yield like that since I was growing up on my father's farms. And I said, I told you. You know, the depletion comes from using fertilizers, and then you get chemical pesticides and things like this involved, and affects your bacterium in your soils and your worms and things like this. Yeah, those soils are depleted. And the yield of farmers, they sold this crap, Monsanto and stuff, sold this crap to farmers that look at the yield you get when you use fertilizers. Yeah, for the first year or two or so, and then there goes the other way. You know, and it's like, really? I mean, this chemical consciousness on this planet is sickening. And you can see now they're using it against humans to kill them. And it's a gnarly mess. So, vitamins and minerals and supplements, you can't say you're deficient of anything until you fix what? Your lymphatic system, so everything's moving in and out. Your absorption through your GI tract, the phagocytic cells, are open, the mucoid plaque off, the interstitial lymphatic stagnation in the intestinal walls are cleared. You can't say you're deficient in anything. Then how are you combining your foods? Are you combining your foods where you're setting up fermentation and putrefaction? Are you combining proteins with starches? Or fruits on top of anything? Because you're going to get fermentation. Even with vegetables, you don't put fruit on top of vegetables. I would go into distress if I did that. And then the adrenal glands and the steroids for mineral utilization, stuff like that. You can't make these statements until your body is totally healthy, your lymph and everything is moving well, you have good absorption and everything, your adrenals are in the utilization factors. And then you may say, oh, these fruits or these vegetables are making me deficient, but I have never seen that. In 50 years now as a naturopath, I've never seen that. You fix those things and you talk about healthy and you talk about needing less. I've talked to this about calories. Everybody's so concerned about calories. I was watching that Naked and Afraid at the new season. And here's this guy, protein eater, another one. That poor guy gave out and he had to just sit around the camp place. And the poor lady then had to go out and do the hunting and stuff. She had more energy by far than he did. But she was more plant-based thinking. So you just see that all the time when you depend upon protein for energy and you bulk up, not realizing that is a huge lie, that protein is not an energy source, and that as you bulk up with that, you start having trouble, serious trouble. And when you're not eating and you're a bulked up protein eater, you can start having some rough detoxes. You know, no energy, your adrenals are shot, your kidneys are shot. But supplements are not the way to go. If you want to spend your money on something that will get your body into a position of wellness, then you want to get into the botanicals holistic thinking, where you have the consciousness of the plant along with its chemical structures. And it's not just vitamins and minerals, because most vitamins are most coenzymes, basically. So your structures are turned into salts and other types of things instead of just minerals and things like that. You have mineral salts and all kinds of constituents. So the plant takes more basic chemistry and combines it and makes it more electrical. And then for itself to grow, and then we eat that for its electrical. So supplements are not holistic thinking at all and can hurt you more than help you. And I've said this before, I've had people lay out grocery bags on my desk of supplements. And when you look at them all, you add up all the D's, the E's, the C's, the B's, of course, all the water solubles, okay. But then you have your oil solubles, those are a totally different beast. And so when you start adding them up on all these different supplements that tout themselves to be the thing for health, you're taking way out there. Well, that just unbalances your body chemistry, makes your body more confused, and then you don't get anywhere. You don't find dynamic health taking supplements, ever. I lived through that. And it didn't take me long to go, wait a minute, we're holistic. We're one. And so when you isolate, that's like creation. Now you've lost the power of the whole. And the power of the whole is far greater than the sum of its parts. So that's where I disagree totally. You got to be careful. And then what's your immune system? Anybody know what your immune system is? Where is your immune system? Blood? Nah. Even the A&P books talk about that. Nah. You might have some immune cells in the blood, of course. But where's the bulk? What is your immune system? Could we call it your sewer system? A system that removes the unwanted chemistry that you've consumed or that your cells have produced as the byproducts of metabolism or respiration or whatever? Absolutely. That's your immune system. That's what gets rid of the unwanted. And people have this fear of bacterium from allopathic thinking. But remember, bacteria is there as your friends. You don't have bacterial action if you don't give them something to eat. It's like fungus. We're all full of fungus, but most people have fermented foods. They combine their foods wrong and it turns into fermentation or putrefaction. There's your fungus or your bacterium, and you're going to invite them in. And as long as your colon is a you-know-what house mess, here's E. coli, everybody's loving on you. Or what's stuck in you. And so you can't play. Your immune system is your sewer system with the lymph nodes, the immune cells of lymphocytes, monocytes, your macrophages and your lymph nodes. You go right on down that line, but it also includes bacterium. Every sewer system I know of has bacterium involved. It's a central part of breaking down metals and things. And if you thought that bacteria attack cells, then why do you have macrophages in your lymph nodes? So the whole system of thinking of that is idiotic. And most people have, no, I'm boost my immune system so I can fight off. You can't fight anything off if your body's full of mucus, you're a milk drinker, you're a high protein eater. You can't fight off nothing. You know, I'm going to fight it off with vitamin C and shit. There's no fighting anything off. You've created a cesspool in your body, and nature's just responding to that cesspool. That's all it is. And when you understand that and understand the eliminative organs are not eliminating properly, and you fix that, then all that goes away. Now, I told you about that little AIDS little girl that we cleaned up in Indonesia or one of these countries. Been a lot of years ago. Probably 30, 35, 40 years ago. And she was running around playing, and all the other children were full of AIDS and dying, and she had a clean body. She had it before, but it's at the viral loads. You know, when you have a sewer system that's backed up, you have a cesspool building up in your body. And you can call it whatever you want when it backs up in the blood, you know. We have different names for that. So you've got to rethink that. You would be better to spend your money on an herbal formula that's for the liver or for the adrenal glands if you're worried about metabolism. But then again, if your sewer system's backed up, your lymph nodes are swollen, and you've got a breast cancer diagnosis, your body's not getting rid of the trash. It's staying home. And your body puts it in little closets, Like these schools have closets. If you come and you won't want to be a girl and you're a girl and you want to be a boy, you can go to these closets and change your clothes. Okay? Reptilian thinking or something. Unreal. So you got to understand that if you're going to spend money, don't waste it on supplements. Because I've tried everything under the sun in the earlier years, and then it goes holistic. You're thinking you're getting trapped. And then our cure rate went shing. No sugar, no meat, little dairy, no dairy. You still don't want to suck on mama when you're 30 or 40 or 50, whatever mama it is, a cow, human sucking on a cow's teat. Most cheese and all that's out of cow's milk, right? Well, there's goat's milk cheese. I used to sell raw milk cheeses, but that was in the early 70s before the FDA goes, oh, no, you can't drink raw milk. Matter of fact, told the farmers they can't drink their own cow's milk. Matter of fact, recently in the news, some farmer, Amish farmer, or one farmer, got in trouble probably because he was drinking his own cow's milk. So essential oils, okay, be careful. You know, oils are the most toxic part of plants, so be careful. Make sure you understand why you're taking something and understand what we teach you about the simplicity of how the body works. If you want to take something, you want to take it to that end. You want to take herbs that get the kidneys to start functioning better, to turn the liver on, to get the endocrinology back and going. That's what you were looking for, you know, and to get your sewer system moving. Using castor oil and castor oil packs, okay. But that just shows you that you're obstructed. And you're trying to use an oil. Oh, I want your lymph system made. Oh, an oil. Oh, oil-based. Oh, cholesterol. Oh, I get it. So it's anti-inflammatory. Oils are mostly anti-inflammatory, although they can be pretty rough. You get too complex of an oil. Some oils can rip you good. That's why this country doesn't allow essential oils by mouth, even though people are doing it. I think in Germany, don't you guys just allow a few drops or something? No chemicals, cleaning and washing. Well, that's always smart. And no makeup or perfumes and things like that that are not organic and from organic sources. Yeah, because as I said, if you can't eat your mascara, why do you put it on your body? Grounding. Okay, that's good. Rebounding. Well, if you're not filtering, rebounding can hurt you. Remember the knees and the boobs. You got a boobie there that's in trouble, and what are you doing? You know, you got to be real careful what you do. Better to have passive exercise like swimming and yoga and things like this, stretching, you know, and get the nerves stretched out and all this, help to get the lymph moving. But hydration is number one uno. And hydration only occurs when you eat raw fruits, berries, melons, or vegetables. That's it. Everything else is dehydrators. Regular Reiki, okay. Sound healing. I like that. I love music. Being a musician, I love music, of course. You guys watching The Voice or American Idol? Yeah, I'm big fans of those. They were in The Voice, so they had all the guys singing. There's Reba. She's got such a pretty voice. Ooh. So yeah, sound healing, you know. But remember, there's external sounds and there's internal sounds. So a lot of times we want to shut the outside world off and start listening within and listening to that music. And that's another way you can get into the now, is when you listen, you're becoming that sound. And that sound is so loud in my ears sometimes I can't hear on the outside because I'm always listening. They taught me to. Thermal imaging scans. Okay. Better, no question about that. Sound healing. Detox baths. Okay. Be careful with that. Cold sheet type treatments. I mean, they can be really powerful, but you got to be careful about innervation. Meditation. I like that. Relax and pull yourself into the now. Quit thinking. Step aside from your emotions and your thoughts. That's another energy drainer. Your emotion drains your energy. Your thoughts drain your energy. Buy yourself some flowers. Look at colors. Look at all the beautiful colors out there and smells. Look at the smells of flowers. All of these things are healing, or the opposite. Mindset work and coaching, dealing with trauma. I tried MMS, protocol, but it made me say, no. No way on MMS, guys. And then there's fenbendazole. The hell is that? That's where you start perking off into other areas. Yeah. DMSO, yuck. Been there, done it, yuck. Stinky, nasty stuff, yuck. Mixed with RSO and applied to lump, yuck. Going nowhere. You've got an obstruction, and if you don't look at it that way, you can throw all kinds of crap in on the pot, and it's just going to get bigger. Hydrogen peroxide, be careful with that. I had some, 35%. I had some strong stuff. It's sat in my refrigerator in the clinic for years. I never would use it on anybody. Got to be real careful with that. And then what is an extra element or so of oxygen going to do for you? You can learn how to deep breathe and get more oxygen, right? But is the blood the problem? No, it is not. It's your sewer system that's the problem. Taking RSO orally. Oh, God. Taking cannabis oil. I mean, where are you going with cannabis oil? CBD oil. I know some of you make some really good CBD oil. And I was going to sell it, but then again, I didn't want the state to, give me crap. But I'm anti-inflammatory, of course. But again, this is treatment-based if you're full of inflammation. But if you're not doing something to fix the obstruction, then you're always going to be taking this stuff, which can add to your obstruction. Your body has it colloidal silver, yuck, and I think I've talked about that. Forget colloidal silver. Whoever told you to take colloidal silver, that's playing with chemistry in the wrong way. If you're after a fungus, you have to go to the botanical kingdom. You don't go to the mineral kingdom. Oh, hell. Then you pull your body out of balance here. That's a huge no-no. My world. Black seed oil. Yeah, you're doing a lot of treating here. Scans on a Telstar sonar machine via my holistic nurse. Yeah, they wanted to sell me one of those years ago. What was it, 25 grand? They'd diagnose you and treat you at the same time. This lady from New York, she owned like 5 big health food stores in New York City and stuff. And she came down here for winter break and stuff. She'd come in and see me, and she tried to sell me one of these machines. So she had a big party at her house, and we all sat on the machine, and listened to the crap. And then she came to me a year later and said, well, I've got cancer, and I'm on that machine 5 times a day. I said, any luck? She says, no. I said, well, what did you expect it? You just have to understand the simplicity of what your problem is and the focus and how to fix it. You're all over the place trying to take everything to throw in on the mix, and that never works. And then some of this stuff is definitely a huge no-no. I'm surprised you didn't put urine therapy. Holy crap. Or crap therapy. Ugh. Over the last couple of months, the lump has started to protrude out, of my skin, and the lump in my lymph nodes have started to get quite big. Well, look at everything you're doing. Shouldn't all this fix you up? It isn't, is it? No, it isn't. And that's what my whole thing is. I've had so many years of seeing thousands of people that I know. Let me tell you, I've tried to throw shit on the pile myself. And it comes back, same thing in my face every time. Same thing. You're forgetting the fact that they're obstructed. This is a sewer system. Oh yeah, that's my mind, conditioned mind and naturopathy, early naturopathy. Now it's real bad. So the fact that your tumor is protruding out your skin just tells me your body wants to get rid of it. So you'd be better off to find a good black salve and yank that puppy out of there. You still have an obstruction and you'll get another tumor, just like a lumpectomy. You'll get another tumor. But the problem is with lumpectomies, they love to take some lymph nodes. And that's where you get yourself in hot water. That they just don't understand. You don't monkey with that system. And that's the system that causes all these problems. Your lymph nodes are already getting bigger. That's because your kidneys are your problems. And maybe you don't sweat well. Who knows? It has become quite painful, and I'm getting stabbing pains in it. Yeah, I bet, honey. I feel for you. I'm also getting pains on my chest. On the left-hand side, it feels like nerve pain. Probably is. My understanding is that this is part of the healing process. See, here's another thing you got to be careful, like the master syndrome. Oh, listen, that pain, you're on all this good stuff, it's all working, and this is just part of the detox and healing process. The hell it is. You're getting worse. The healing process doesn't always yield pain. It should pull you out of pain because you're hydrating and you're opening up your obstruction. Things should be getting smaller, not bigger. This nurse is telling you or feeding you wrong, or maybe someone else is, who knows. But be very careful what you buy into, because in my opinion, you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And you don't want any part of that. Was this left breast again? You got a heart on that side. Oh, I hate this. This is part of the healing process, and eventually the skin will open and the lump will drain, come away, and heal. Okay, I can buy that. I've seen that, of course, but don't count on it. Your lymph nodes are getting bigger. That's not favorable. So, no, it's just getting bigger, and of course, it's always going to go out. Remember, ladies, the nipples are our doorways out, and that's the problem. These tumors like to head for the openings. The body's trying to kick that out since it can't drain properly through the lymph nodes because they're backed up. Well, if they're backed up, then who controls them? Nobody asks these questions. Medical hasn't enough brain power to ask these questions. Stupid. My holistic nurse took a look yesterday and she said the following. She is quite concerned as the lump appears to have its own circulation. She's getting smart. As she could see blood vessels. And that's what you don't want, because that means that if you can't back this up, then you have to have medical intervention. I think I showed you that one gigantic tumor had a blood supply. But I had to get her up to, where did I take her? I can't even remember right now. John Hopkins. And that was a joke almost. That's the problem. They need proper surgery, but then where do you find surgeons that understand what they're doing in that way? Not that good surgeons, I'm for great surgeons. But when it comes to tumors and stuff, not so smart. It could mean it may not be fluid-filled and in fact will continue to grow outside of the skin rather than leave a void cavity. I think she and you are overthinking this. The lump in my armpit, is fairly large too. She has been following you for a while and has recommended I start the red grape fast ASAP. Thank you, nurse. Right on, honey. Right on. And start rebounding gently to work on my lymphatic system. You'd be better to swim or get a chi machine, something like that. Remember, movement is not necessarily beneficial when you're obstructed like that because you're creating more waste cellularly. And the more waste you produce cellularly, sometimes there's a key word here that might sound ridiculous. But the key word is rest. Rest. Relax. Lose the fear, relax. Understand where your problem is. And relax. Relaxation opens up the flow of blood, opens up the flow of lymph if there's an open cavity or open doorway. So there's a time to move and exercise and things, and there's a time not to. Like I said, yoga would be your best bet, stretching. And start lymphatics and also work on my kidneys, which can stop the growth. Absolutely. I would hit my kidneys with everything that we talk about. Herbs, things like that, Fruit. I have attached a couple of photos so you can see the lump. I would generally appreciate any advice that you have to stop the growth, reduce the lump, get the lymphatic system working. Well, that's Faye Smith. Well, sweetheart, listen. That's when you recommend 2 kidney formulas, at least 1 lymphatic formula. If you can find a black salve, and this gets too big, although and it's getting pretty red, it looks like. But that's common. The redder and the harder it gets, the more trouble you're in. Yeah, I would apply a little black salve on the head of that if you can find a good one. And see if you can open that up, keeping in mind that you have to get yourself filtering. We brought that out, and I'm surprised at the people that still do not understand the kidney connection to the lymphatic system. Yeah. So I feel for you, but the nurse is right. You needed to do that and get rid of the friggin' supplements. Jesus, you're doing yourself a lot more harm than good. And start focusing on botanicals, which has a power to them, that has a consciousness to them, that knows what they're doing, and focus on your sewer system. Grapes and all that's perfect for blood. You have to worry about the blood, but you have to worry about your sewer system. And that keeps it easy and simple. And relax. Relax. You're doing meditation, and live in a form of meditation. Walk around listening. And instead of looking and thinking and looking in the outside world, walk around listening and observing. Awareness is far greater than thought, I would think. Hello, Dr. Morse. My name is Vicky. I live in the UK and I am 64. I thought I was healthy. Uh-oh. I know. You know what? Such a toxic planet in all kind of ways. It's toxic in politics. It's toxic in ego. It's toxic in all the healing systems. It's like you have to learn self-survival. You have to, what I call, become streetwise in a world where everything wants to hurt you. And nowadays, the negative forces are so strong, people are perpetuating them, are being channels for them, unconsciously. And that's where awareness and what you all are doing is vital to this planet. When you don't think that you're significant, Don't ever count yourself out. Each and every one of you are highly significant to this planet and its ability to grow or not. So don't ever count yourselves out being non-significant, because each and every one of you are vital. And as you awaken and you work on your health and spiritual issues, that goes out energetically. Last October, I had a mole extraction, basically, and one lymph node removed. You know, when it comes to the lymph nodes, oh my God, it came back clear. Oh, well, let's have them put it back then. Huh, right. Oh, God. You know, this is where man's problem is, right here, allopathic thinking. But I am so scared, worried it will return. It's just your lymphatic system. It's just your sewer system, honey. That's all it is. Since then, I have been down the rabbit hole researching for information. Yeah. Good luck. Look at all these books behind me. At least they're focused. It goes that way and that way. And then I got a big storage unit full of books. And then I turned down Dr. Jensen's library because too much. I wouldn't go back and read these old books for nothing. That's always, you know, when you go to school properly and they teach you, either you read it now and study, because I have research papers at home that thick. And I just have got no time. I want to go into it. I've got some great veterinarian books that I want to go into the different species and stuff. I ain't got no time. And the older I get, I'm going, God, have I ever had any time off where I can relax? No. At 74, I've never had any time off, really. I went into the woods when I was, like I said, 21. I had a couple of years of relaxing. Since then, I have been down the rabbit hole researching it. I came across one of your videos on one of the groups I have been following on Facebook. That's pretty cool. You explain in layman's terms how the lymphatic system works without all the biochemistry jargon. Thank you. That's what I hope I go down for, is taking the complex and making it simple. Because if you keep it simple, even children understand. And once you understand, then if you want to get complex, but where are you going to go to get the truth in complexities? Because when you start off with wrong theories, you know, or wrong chemical theories, you're down the rabbit hole there. And so your research is off and off and off. So then who do you believe? And that's the point, is you have to realize you're in creation, which that's the game. The game is for the mind to get lost in its own self. You know, it's kind of like Hawkins. He was lost in mental jargon. Smart, intelligent-wise, but dumb spiritually. So he couldn't get himself out of ALS and died a horrible death. Well, most of you could have pulled him out of that. And after all his searching and all his understanding of the universes and chemistry and physics, his main claim is there's no God. Well, I have to tell you, if you're that into all of this, you're either lost in horrible conditioning that you can't see the divine power behind the creator of it, period. You think things just sprung out of nowhere and became something. That doesn't happen. There's all these levels that they're on created first. Thought always creates what you experience here way before you experience here. You can visit these astral museums and look at what is going to be created in the future down here, so to speak. There's all kinds of things you can see that is in the time track of the causal world. I just started a lifestyle change with my diet. Well, I would. If you're worried about lymph nodes and stuff like that, don't wait until you go, oh, look, it's time. Maybe I'll do something. No. Let that concern trip you into self-discipline, and then start working on yourself in terms of hydration, which is detoxification, and let the body clean itself out. If you have the money to focus on supplements, and I hate to use the word supplements when I'm referring to botanical formulas, but look at how the body works and look at our detox kits and you'll see why I made them. You're going after the gut tissue, even though it's the digestive tract, you still have to be concerned about absorption of the grapes. You still have to be concerned about all of that. So, it's just getting yourself focused on proper diets. And of course, people freak out when you say you got to go on fruit. And I'm still this Man is a Frugivore book is pretty in depth, more than I realized. And so, but I'm still working heavy on it. Matter of fact, at the end of this month, I've got our cameraman in videoing, and so I'm going to be videotaping a lot of the chapters in there because Patty can't get down here till August now, and it's like, I can't wait. So I've got to start taping a lot of these chapters and stuff. But don't you think sewer system is a good name for the lymphatic system? I would. Don't you think septic tanks is a good name for lymph nodes? I would. I am eating almost a raw plant-based diet. I would, but I would go to the fruit-based. When you're in trouble lymphatically, kind of get out of the plant kingdom and go to what the plant kingdom makes for you. When a tree or a plant goes here, here's a blueberry, here's a blackberry, or here's an orange, or here's a peach, or whatever. The tree is giving you love. Here's what I made for you. Enjoy it. But no, we gotta eat the leaves of the tree or our plant, or then we've got to go kill an animal around. I would like to know if you can help me with what herbs, foods, etc. that are best to treat this disease. Okay, so let me, since we're talking about this, Vicki, lose the treat this disease. Trash can! Throw it away, because that'll not serve you well and looking at a swollen lymph node or a tumor as a disease, because there's no such thing. This is an obstruction of your sewer system or immune system or lymphatic system. Use whatever word you want. This is an obstruction with that system, and you've got to remove the obstruction, and the kidneys are your main eliminative organs along with the skin. And if you're not sweating or filtering, remember filtration? Remember filtration? Oh, you got an infection. No, my sewer system's working. Huh. That's what your focus is. And when that focus comes about, everything clears up. All the acids come out, the pain and swelling goes away. If your parathyroids and everything is up and running, your skeletal system rebuilds itself, your connective tissue, and your body rebuilds itself. So you're removing the acidic medium stagnation that your body's in. That's all it is. So the foods are going to be fruits, berries, and melons, in my opinion. Unless you're very edemic, then get rid of the melons. But and also juicing. If you're holding water, don't consume a whole bunch. You got to have it in the fruits, because your watery fruits are your most hydrating and detoxifying there is. And the key word to that is hydration and astringents. In other words, you don't clean a heavily mineralized shower door with carrot juice or green juice. You clean it with lemon juice. Same kind of thinking. All right? So that's the case, and then I'm for the detox kits the way I laid them out. Because one, if you've never dewormed yourself, please do it. I mean, you might not think you have worms or parasites in your body. Well, check and see. because that can be a serious issue. You can have a tumor full of worms, you know? So you want to deworm yourself, and getting rid of the fungus, at least not, you never get rid of it, but, get it way down will help your desires and for foods. And then start, cleaning it out that way. The herbs, I always go after the kidneys, number one, the lymphatic system, of course. I'm always going after the endocrinology because the glands control everything, and when the lymph system's down, there goes the adrenals. The pituitary goes down because of the toxic foods we put in our bowels, from proteins to cheeses and milks. All this stuff just clogs the bowels and then shoots up into the sinuses, and then you've got the pituitary up there. And then you're either short or tall nowadays. And then there goes all the other glands because it controls them all. And then, of course, a lot of congestion in the thyroid gland. And then you start swelling there, and then they take those out, and you got the parathyroids, and all that's your calcium and metabolism. So a life without that isn't fun. I mean, it's just, this is why these kits exist. I like to clean the liver for a month. But then you only, what's the liver? A bunch of cells and 2 fluids. So these formulas are really just an enhancement of structure function, which are your cells. And if you look at the Oregon grapes and the yellow dox and the burdox, man, these guys do everything. From enhancing liver function to breaking up tumors, to cleaning the blood, to a lot of them are antifungals. I mean, the herbal kingdom is like, kid in a candy store. Taking supplements and isolates only lead you down the pathway, down the rabbit hole. And as you saw with that one lady, she's getting worse. But she's on all this. And colloidal silver, people have to graduate out of that thinking. Isn't that old thinking, or is that still out there? I don't know. So that's why I have those kits the way they are. And we shake it up. That's why there's 4 of each one of the kidneys and lymphatics. We shake it up just so the body doesn't get used to any particular herb. If it does, that sort of thing. Just to shake up things. Surprise the body. If you don't want your swelling and your tumors to grow or come back, you've got to get your kidneys filtering. End of story. And if you don't believe me, then keep going. See what happens. Thank you, and would appreciate your advice on this disease. As long as you think in terms of diseases, you're lost. How can I treat myself? How can I treat this disease that's trying to get me? What did you do so bad that it's after you? These allopaths, they get me. Like these cancer, they make it into like a conscious entity that's attacking you. And then we got to go in and attack it back. Yeah, kills most people. Jesus, criminy. Sorry, Lord. Rebecca? That's an interesting way to spell it. Jawbone shifted during detox. Ho ho! Whoa! Hello, Dr. Morse. I hope this email finds you well. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. First of all, I wanted to give you a big hug. Oh, I take a big hug. I like hugs. Yeah. I decided to start hugging people back when I was 21. It freaked people out back then. Oh, yeah. No. I go, huh? Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. But a big hug and a big thank you because you have saved my life. I wish I could have found you earlier. I could have saved me from 8 nerve release surgeries. But the nervous system likes to rebuild. Now, wait a minute. The nervous system likes to rebuild itself, right? Well, not allopathically, of course, no. So what would that Yale study say about neurons? Oh, they needed fructose. So a diet exclusively of high fructose really builds the nervous system. Your neuropathies go away, all kinds of things. What was numb gets unnumb, all these things like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with allopathy. We're just do a nerve release, or we'll do a, what do they call it? Release surgeries and a major work done on my mouth because of excruciating pain on my teeth. I've seen the best doctors in New York City. Oh, you're a New Yorker. Well, you got to come down to the free state of Florida because, sorry, but New York City is a mess. Holy crap. Maybe 30 different doctors. Holy crap. Come to Florida, baby. Which could not figure it out where the pain was coming from. Really? No kidding. So they do an ablation. I was introduced to you and your practice last January, and I've been on my detox journey for almost a year. I have changed my diet to fruits, and I have been getting herbs to help with it. I've been on amazing improvement on my health. I am pain-free for about a year. Yeah! Proof's in the pudding, you know. Proof's in the pudding. And getting yourself hydrated and getting this lymphatic system astringed and filtering properly. Yeah, I want to see this jaw shift, though. My concern now is that starting detox, I've seen my lower jawbone has shifted. I want so hard to regrow my jawbone back and be able to that's a given. If you stay steady on this, you will see that happen. I had a guy that had a big tumor here. Well, they cut this out and almost all his jawbone and said, well, that's all we can do for you. So I got him, and I have x-rays where his whole jawbone built itself right back again. Your jawbone, your bony structure will shift, there's no question, but you want it to shift itself back in place, and it knows where its place is. Oh yeah. So like scoliosis and things like that, I've never seen it fail unless you didn't follow through, but it takes a raw diet. This bony structure system can regenerate on vegetable juices, with fruits as well, a diet, if you did 50-50, but neurons, you want as much fruit as you can in your diet there. But what makes things shift, right? What causes pain? Well, there's only two sides of chemistry. Pick one. And it's not the alkaline electrical side. It's the acid side. And then the acid side does what? Steals calcium out of bony structure, connective tissue, right? And if you're having trouble here, you could be having trouble in the parathyroid glands. Well, if you're having trouble there, then maybe you can't put the calcium back. And that would be a problem. So I would work on my parathyroid for sure, since you're having structural problems along with nerve problems. But again, it's all lymphatically at issue. Blood doesn't cause a mutation like that. Doesn't have to steal calcium unless you dump acid-ash foods in it, like proteins. And then, of course, your blood's going to steal calcium. And how do you see that in your clients? Varicose veins, spider veins, petechia, bruising easy, hemorrhoids, hernias, aneurysms. Yep. But you want to regrow jaw, the fruit is adequate to do that by far. You can add green drinks in there. If you knew your lymphatic system was clean enough, you could add some alfalfa juice or something like the power of the alfalfa, and kelp and stuff like that. Or get a superfood complex, like Muscles by Nature or something like that. But be careful, because you don't want to pack the aminos. You want your body to fix itself, and it will. It'll fix itself, realign itself. I mean, I learned a lot in 50 years, I'll have to tell you that. A lot. And be able to place implants. Doctor had to remove my teeth because of the pain. Oh my God. And you guys wonder why I do this still at 74? I'll be doing this at 100 if I'm still on the planet. I mean, this is crazy. Let me remove your teeth because you're in pain. Really? Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Even if I had excellent teeth. Oh, Lord, my God. Stupid does. Stupid is as stupid does. Jesus criminy. Is this that I can get it cheap? Absolutely can, honey. But again, you want to think of parathyroid issues, thyroid issues. You want to get your lymphatic system cleaned up here in the sinus areas and watch your body grow back and realign itself. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we have bone and connective tissue, I think. One of them still out there. They renamed some of these formulas, so I don't know what they call that one now. Is your bone formula going to help? It will help, but help only. You don't take an herbal formula like with comfrey in it or anything like that, which is called knit bone, and expect that to do the job for you, because you have to get your parathyroid up and moving. You've got to go after these things, and that's where I use the parathyroid glandular. Sorry. I mean, when you're in trouble, you want to go after this a little aggressively. Now that you're out of pain and all that, and that says you've really cleaned your lymph system up in this area, go more, go, until everything realigns itself. Just go to the drmorris. Well, it's Morse now, .tv, right? Morse.tv, and look at that toe. It was just hanging tissue in the beginning. Now it's got bone, it's got connective tissue, it's got nerves, it's got tendons, nail. Oh, just on fruit and herbs? So those are there to show you the power of what your body can do. And this guy wasn't healthy. He had high blood pressure and he had diabetes. Oh, wait a minute. Is that kidney and adrenals, and is that the main part of your lymphatic system? Uh-huh. I mean, trace all the dots and it'll all come back home to you. I would pray for you to read my concern and be able to help. Absolutely, sweetie. I mean, you have a pretty much given case here to fix. You know, it's not like that one poor lady's got lymph nodes swollen all over the place and the tumor hanging out the breast. That's a little more complicated. Believe it or not. Once again, thank you so much. Oh, you're very well. You know, I hope my staff is good, or we get them. That's all I got. I'll have to have them go pour me some more in here, but sometimes you have to have the faith, even though something might sound really austere, you know, like all fruit, but you have to realize that the human is only 2%, National Geographic, only 2% different than a chimpanzee. And these are frugivores, not omnivores. You never want to give a gorilla meat and then be friends with them, understanding that proteins are an aggressive side of chemistry. So anyway, that's all I have. It's getting a little toward 5 o'clock. Everybody's going to run home. All right, I love you guys. I will load this up with more questions and get back with you on this. But don't fear anything. Relax. Start listening within. Get your own power. You're the way. Even Jesus said, you're the way. You're the one. You know, you're the path. He was only a way shower. And that is true with all true masters. They're way showers. They show you the way, but you got to walk it. Just like you got to be the one to eat the fruit. You got to be the one to have self-discipline. And make it a game with yourself. You have to. You know, to spend time alone. If you're in a family situation, you got kids, husbands, wives, go somewhere where you can be alone and hug self. I'm okay. You know, I'm still an individual in the world of complexity, the social consciousness. Each and every one is always an individual, and it's the negative forces that want you to think otherwise. Okay? They would rather you be in the social, global, communist type thinking, because then everybody is huddled together, then they're killed, or they're, you know, thrown a piece of bread every once in a while with cheese on it. No. Take your power back, you know. Each and every one of you can get your power back. You don't be shy about it. Fix your body up. And as you fix your body up, your power comes back. You fix your adrenals up, your emotions come back. You become strong and self-assertive. And you know what you want to do with yourself. And quit buying into all this crap of supplements and all this stuff like it's going to bring you into Wellville. It doesn't. And a lot of them continue down the rabbit hole to Hellville. Next one.